Hello, everyone. I'm Randy Arrington, and welcome to the 54th episode of Page Valley Livin'. We're sitting here today in the mayor's cottage, Mayor Michael Knight of Stanley, next to his home on East Main Street in Stanley. And we're going to be talking with the mayor here, now beginning his third term with the gavel here at this, leading the Stanley Council. And we're going to talk about some of the accomplishments and some of the things that were done in the town of Stanley over the past year in 2024. And we're going to take a look ahead at 2025 of some of the goals that the town has for the upcoming year and some of the projects that we may see come online in the next 12 months. We're going to talk about all of that and so much more here with Mayor Michael Knight in just a moment. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Whispering Pines Assisted Living is now accepting new admissions. Quality care at affordable rates, professionally trained staff, memory support, and short-term respite stays are all offered by Whispering Pines Assisted Living, powered by Valley Care Management, where home and heart meet. Call for a tour today on Leakesville Road in Luray or learn more at valleycaremanagement.com.
The 54th episode of Page Valley Living is being filmed on Monday, January the 20th, and will first air on both our website at pagevalleynews.com and on our YouTube channel at Page Valley News under the Page Valley Livin' Show on Wednesday, January the 22nd. That's when it will first air. And as I said before, we're here in the mayor's cottage next to his home on East Main Street in Stanley, Virginia. Mike, thanks so much for being with us here today.
Well, welcome, Randy, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, as I said, we're going to start off talking about 2024. And, it seems to me it's been kind of a busy year, and y'all have had a lot of things going on.
Yes, sir, we have. One of the additions that I'm extremely proud of is we have started installing the new street lights around the walking trail out at Ed Good Park. We've got 8 of them installed, and we've got 4 more to do. And with hopefully we'll be able to get enough money put together to put up the next 4. So if anybody's interested, we'll take donations.
Always looking for donations. Well, I tell you, excuse me, y'all guys do a great job, particularly with those 2 parks, and you've done a lot with them in just the last few years. From the dog park you added over at Hawksbill to walking trails, so many things you've added over at Ed Good Park, from the Blue Ridge Heritage Project, the stone chimney that's over there, the walking trail, the Pioneer Performing Arts stage there that you've got, that Pioneer Bank helped you out with, and a nice anonymous donor. But y'all have really added a lot to the parks.
Well, we have a great community and a very giving community. Our homecoming is supported by a lot of our businesses and a lot of our community citizens, and we really do well at homecoming. I think last year our sponsors provided us with about $20,000 in sponsorship money.
Wow. That is fantastic. And so looking back at 2024, now I've got a list of several things here I just kind of jotted down real quick that happened during different months of last year. If you had to name off your list there 2 or 3 things that you think that you look back and you say, I'm really glad we got that done, what would you point out?
Well, we have needed some public works vehicles for quite a while. So with the ARPA money, we were able to purchase a new utility truck or service truck. We were able to purchase a new 1-ton dump truck that we badly needed. Some of the other things that we've done, our chief is very, how should I say, always seeking grants, and he was able to purchase a new police vehicle, uniforms, ammunition, and all this stuff is purchased through grants. So it's not coming out of the town's general ledger.
Right. Now you mentioned something there talking about ARPA. And obviously, I think you had to like assign the projects by the end of this year, but you've got, I believe, through September of the coming year to actually spend, the final money, I believe, but you have to already have it earmarked. For every small town in America, probably that has been a huge help, particularly in terms of maybe some infrastructure improvements, water and sewer things. What specifically has that money over the last, I guess it's been 3 or 4 years now, what has that money done for Stanley?
Oh, it was a tremendous help. By being able to purchase vehicles, we could turn our general ledger money to other projects. Some of the ones we have been trying to get well number 7 online, been a long process. We just recently tried to start it up. Of course, the pump had set for so long, so that burned up, so we had to purchase a new pump. So we were supposed to test it a couple weeks ago, and hopefully we'll get that well online into our water system.
Now, I know y'all are getting real close to the end. It seems like we've been close to the end for a while.
Yes.
But just for the folks who don't know, that well number 7 project, I mean, at least 10 years, maybe 15, but it goes all the way back to Project Clover, if anybody can remember that, when the county was planning to put I guess like a little industrial park set up, and there was going to be a data center. Premier Technical Services, I believe, David Tong's outfit, was going to have a data center there, and that sort of fell through, and the industrial park never got developed, and then the county had committed to help pay for that well number 7, and they sort of went, boop, they were gone.
Well, I was appointed to the council in 1998.
Yeah.
And this project had already been started and was going on. I remember going to one of the county meetings and requested them to further fund it. We kind of worked out a deal to where they paid for drilling it and they put the pump in, but it was always our thought that they should have been responsible to put it online, which meant connecting it to our water system.
Which they may have had intention to do, but when that project fell through,
Right.
everything stopped.
Exactly.
And now, finally, after
Years.
yeah, Terry Pettit probably knows exactly how many years, but it has been well over a decade. I think at least that project has been going on, and very soon, well number 7 is going to go online. Did you have any others you want to point out before I start going through my punch list here? Some of the ones that you think are the biggest accomplishments of the past year?
Well, I think that's mainly the biggest ones, especially as far as cost, like the vehicles and stuff.
Right,
'Cause,
right.
it probably took us 4 or 5 years to got enough money to purchase those vehicles, so that was a tremendous help.
Well, I'm just going to kind of hop through a few notes that I made here.
Okay.
Now, back in March, a lot of the emphasis was on Luray because they certainly had very large wildfires going on. But you all had to fight some fires that day as well, because I know they wanted some help. But your guys over here in Stanley, they had, I know, a couple down there. It was one around Alma, I believe, and another one somewhere else. And they had that morning like a traffic accident and a house fire that morning as well.
Yes. Our fire department was very busy that day. I think that morning it started with the house fire up around Baltimore Hill. And then later on it went to I think a gentleman, River Hill Poultry.
Okay.
I think a couple of his trucks caught on fire there at Alma, so our firefighters were very busy that day. And then even later on, I think they helped with putting out the other fires. And I would say not just Stanley's community, but the whole Page County community chipped in, and they brought water and drinks, food, money, gas cards and stuff for all these guys and all the fire departments. So we live in a very giving community, and
Yeah.
we're very blessed to live here.
Sometimes the worst tragedies can bring out the best in people at times, particularly in communities like ours. Then in April, another sad moment with the passing of former Councilman Dwayne Lehman, passed away at the age of 72. He had been involved with the town rescue squad, town fire department. He had been I believe, was a Harrisonburg police officer for
Yes.
some years, but he contributed to the town in many ways.
Oh, absolutely. If he wasn't, he was. I appointed him to the police committee because of his experience being on the police department, and then he was also a first responder.
Yeah.
So he kind of knew what our police department were dealing with things, and then, like I said, I mean, he gave so much of his time to the community, like between the fire department and the rescue squad. Losing Dwayne was a very big loss, and I don't know how we would replace him.
Yeah. Well, the next month in May, the council did appoint Robin Good to fill that vacancy, and honestly, I tell you, I think she brings a fresh voice to the council, but certainly as the only female in the room, a
Right.
different perspective.
Yes, and that's probably something that we've needed since Martha Graves left.
Yeah, right, right.
Yep. Martha was our, well, I called it lovingly our money hawk.
Right.
Guys are bad to want to spend money all the time, and Martha was there to kind of pull us back.
Yeah. Well, I think since Robin's been involved, she sort of sat back and got the feel of things a little bit, but she's been very vocal and has let her opinion be known, and seems to be very sound and reasonable in her decisions and thoughts. And I think she's been a good contribution to the council.
Yep, she has. Very good.
Also in May, although this facility had been open for some time, the Daughter of the Stars Theater had a little opening there, and they're starting to put some programs out. My best of luck goes out to Patrick Burns. He's kind of got an uphill battle with the amount of money he had to put into that place, but he's bringing some interesting things there. I went to one of the last shows. I think he had some comedians from New York down here performing, and it was a small crowd, but it was a good show, and I think that's a nice little offering in Stanley.
Yep. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, they went to one of the ones, I think it was like a folk music
Okay.
where that he had, and they're from Shenandoah. They came down, and they said they really enjoyed it. So my Patrick come out and give us an open invitation to come, and he said the first one's free, so make sure you come out. And so I've told my wife, we need to go out there because we're basically all the time looking for something to do on Saturday night or on the weekend.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's a great little
Yeah.
venue.
Yeah.
It's a great little venue, and I tell you, a lot of the musicians that come, they love the acoustics, that rounded ceiling and all they have in there. He's done a lot with it, and you can tell. I mean, the original wood floors are still in there, and he's having it's kind of slow going, and he's got some growing pains. But if he can keep going, that is just going to get better and better.
Yeah.
And when he gets that front part with the little restaurant and the cafe in it, I think it's going to be a nice little fixture downtown. Looking on to June now, this is something I want to follow up with you. The recovery home that was proposed on West Main Street by Andrea Good. We saw it come up, and then it kind of went away, but I believe they are operating that home, and I guess they come to find out that they did not need a rezoning or a special use permit.
Right.
Am I correct about that?
You are correct. They were, what was explained to me was they were allowed to have three
Residents?
three residents besides herself and Mr. Good. So 5 total. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think if she adds more living space, bedrooms and stuff in the basement, I believe she can have more.
And of course, if I'm sure she's getting maybe some kind of grant money to help operate that recovery home. And I'm gonna tell you, all of that federal grant money and state grant money and stuff, it comes with a lot of strings. So they really have to meet a lot of requirements. So
Yeah.
I think, any fears that the community might have about a home like that, with it only being a few people and with all of the regulations they have to go by, I think things are going to go well there, and it's something that's needed.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about homecoming in the next segment since we're going a little long, but I'm going to hit one more before we leave this segment. In August, you guys had a boil water advisory. Now, do we know what caused that? And it seems like we were able to get over it fairly quickly.
No, I mean, I've talked to the town manager, and he believes that it was just the way they did the testing.
Okay.
I know from building houses, we do water tests on the wells on the houses that we build, and you have to really sterilize where you're drawing the water from.
Right.
And he said that he believed that maybe that process wasn't adequate enough to sterilize like the faucet where they're pulling the water from.
Okay.
And that's how they got the 3 bad tests, because I think once he got the test back from Richmond, they went out the next day and test. They got a private company to come out and test, and all of them tested okay. Then the following Tuesday, I believe, that they tested again and sent it to the state, and it came up good.
And I believe now y'all have made a few adjustments to your testing procedures, and you're going to make some changes to how you alert citizens when something like this comes up. We're going to talk about that and so much more here in just a moment in our second half of our interview here, where we talk about what's coming up in 2025. We'll do that in just a moment after another word from our sponsor.
Hawksbill Assisted Living in Luray is now accepting new admissions. Hawksbill Assisted Living, powered by Valley Care Management, offers quality care at affordable rates, professionally trained staff, and veterans aid and attendance. Come visit Hawksbill Assisted Living, located near the beautiful Hawksbill Greenway in Luray. Call for a tour today or learn more at valleycaremanagement.com.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with Michael Knight at his cottage next to his home on East Main Street. And Mayor, we were just talking about, as we closed out our first segment, the water boiling alert that came out in August. And we talked about some of that may have been from the way the testing went, and some of those procedures might be changed in how we do the testing. But one thing that I think is really good that come out of that situation is you're looking at now a new alert system for the town that you're going to do through text.gov. Tell us a little bit about that and when we might see that come online.
Okay, we contacted a company, and it was called text.gov. We have started doing some training. They did, I think, an online presentation, and so we're doing training for that now. But what our citizens need to know is that they have to come in and sign up for this. This is not something that they're automatically signed up for.
They have to opt into the program.
Exactly.
Okay,
They have to
okay.
opt in to it in order to get it.
And once they sign up, what type of alerts might they get about what types of things?
Well, like maybe there's a water leak in their area. Maybe the water will have to be shut off in their area. If there is bad water, they will get that text. And I mean, a whole array of different things that...
Disruption in trash service.
right.
Or upcoming events maybe
right.
even. Or, okay.
So, I mean,
And you told me earlier that maybe March it might come on?
maybe March, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's not too far away, and I think that's going to be a big improvement in terms of communication. I have to be honest, I think the school system has an alert system like that is very, very effective with the parents in particular. Okay, looking ahead to the coming year, you guys are always doing stuff with your parks and the pool. What might happen? Is there any changes or improvements at the pool or the parks that we might be looking for?
Well, to some of the other localities that are thinking about a pool, just make sure you have deep pockets, because the pool takes a lot of money. There's always issues as far as leaks or, well, with us, it's a lot of leaks. We're possibly going to have to put in a new liner, and that's in the neighborhood of $140,000 to $160,000. And I'm hoping we'll get through this coming year, but then probably next year we'll have to put a new liner in.
Now you're a construction guy. Just out of curiosity, and you don't have to get into the deep details here, but I've always wondered, is the ongoing problems, is that something that anybody would have with any pool, or does it have something to do with the age of the pool or how it was originally built? Like, in other words, if you started out today and built a new one, would it be done a different way and maybe not have as many problems? Or
my expertise isn't with pools,
okay.
so that'd be, if I answer it, I'm going to be guessing. I mean, certainly age on anything is an issue.
Going back to
eventually.
Schuler's pool, how far does that go back?
Oh my,
60s?
That originally, the first one was actually around 1933.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mr.
Well-
Mr. Bill Schuler, I think he's the one that him and his father got together and actually started the pool.
Now, is that the maybe father or grandfather of the Bill Schuler in Shenandoah that we know?
No.
Okay, the different person.
They owned the stone house there as you turn and
Okay.
go to the pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so it's just kind of an ongoing, I won't say money pit, but it's just an ongoing cost that you're never really going to make money on. If you broke even, you'd probably be doing good with
Yeah.
it. Yeah. So Luray or other towns have been talking about that stuff. You know, watch out. It's kind of like a golf course. It's
Right.
always going to cost you money.
Exactly.
You talked about the lights at Edgood Park. You said y'all were about 75% of the way through. You got some more to go.
Yes.
And you would gladly take donations if people were looking to help out with that?
Absolutely. We've got 4 more that we need to put down the left side of the walking trail, which would basically light up the whole walking trail.
Okay.
And that would let people that in the summertime that wanted to walk when it was a little bit cooler,
Yeah.
or some people that worked all day and couldn't get to the park during the day, it would allow them to be able to walk at night.
Okay. And they stay on all night? Like if somebody came early in the morning at like
Yes.
5 in the morning?
Yes, they are on all night.
Now, this next issue, and again, I'm kind of popping around to different issues. This isn't just a Stanley issue. This is a county issue that all the towns have had to deal with. And I think that this issue is somewhat resolved because I believe we're now at a point where the county is working with the towns on a memorandum of understanding dealing with animal control services. I believe when you guys showed up in force, maybe a month or 2 ago at a Board of Supervisors meeting, and all 3 towns showed up in force and said, we do not want these additional fees put on us. I think you won your argument. And I think I heard the county say that they would not be charging them, but
Right.
they did want to change some of the language in the MOUs. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Well, I mean, town residents pay more taxes than county residents do anyway. And, I mean, my personal opinion, I don't feel that it would be right to charge the town, which would wound up passing it on to the residents
Right.
for picking up a dog in the town versus picking up a dog in the county.
Right.
So,
And those town residents are also county residents
exactly.
and pay county taxes. So,
Exactly.
So I applaud all 3 towns on taking a stance on that because I was really shocked at the way the county went a different direction on that, and I was kind of shocked at the timing and procedure that the sheriff went through to get a few $1,000s added to his salary. But I also understand his position. If he's responsible for it and he's liable for it, he deserves maybe a stipend. But
Right.
the timing could have been a little different. But to pass that on then to the county, and I know to the towns, because the county was worried about like emergency medical costs that they may have. They had to go to a veterinarian, and I get where they were coming from, but I think they were nosing in the wrong area for that one, in my opinion.
I mean, going to a vet can get very expensive,
Sure.
especially if they got to spend time at the hospital there
Yeah.
for the vet.
One of the biggest costs, the unexpected costs at the jail, is medical expenses for the inmates too. So I get where they were coming from, but I want to applaud all three towns for taking a stance on that one, because I really feel like that you should. As far as the ARPA money, like I said, I think you've got till about September to finish using that money up, although it's probably already been earmarked. Is there anything coming up this year in particular where that might apply, or being well number 7 maybe, or?
No, the majority of pretty much every bit of the ARPA money has been designated and dispersed.
Okay.
We gave, I think, 40,000 to the fire department and 40,000 to the rescue squad. And I just recently went to the rescue squad dinner, and they were very thankful that we were able to do that, and talked to Captain Gray, and he was telling me what all they were able to purchase, and so hopefully that'll carry them for a while.
It's going to be a little funny not having that free federal funds to play with, ain't it?
Yes, it spoiled us.
It is a little bit. I think everybody did.
Yeah.
Mayor, I kind of have gone through most of my list. Is there anything that you want to point out coming up in the next year, next 12 months, that we might be on the lookout for in Stanley?
Well, just I'm very hopeful that we can get our well number 7 into our water system. That will help us tremendously. And then something that we had been talking about for a while was a new time clock system. So we have started to implement that. It makes it a little bit easier on our payroll clerk. And I would like to see us complete the lights this year
At Good Park.
At Good Park. That's about all I've got.
Well, while I've got you right here, I want to hit on one more issue before we wrap up, because I know our time is just about to run out here, and we're closing things out. This doesn't have anything necessarily to do with 2024 or 2025, but it's always been an issue that I wanted to kind of get you on the record on and get you here in front of the folks to talk about it. We talked about it a moment ago before we started recording. Your company, Knight and Lucas Construction, has done a number of projects in town. And I'll have to be honest, I was probably like some of the citizens when I first started seeing some of that. I kind of raised my eyebrows and said, I wonder if there's a conflict of interest here, and he's the mayor, but yet he's got this construction company and they're doing town projects. But when I looked into these things, without exception, whether we're talking about Kibler Library, whether we're talking about the performance stage, whether we're talking about the concession stand or whatever other projects y'all have done, it has always, without exception, benefited the town of Stanley. In particular, over at the library, where I believe the next lowest bid was $100,000 higher. Now, how you can make money off of that being that low of a bid, I don't know. But I want you to go on the record, talk about that. Convince me and the folks out there that you're not pulling a fast one on us, and that this has all been done in the best interest of the town.
Okay. Well, first of all, I've lived here all my life. My partner has lived here all of his life. He doesn't live in town, but and we have been in business 43 years. We were asked by the chairman to bid the library because they had previously gotten bids, and I think the lowest one at that point was like $425,000.
And that was to build the children's addition onto the library?
Yes, the addition that they have now at the library. So my partner and I talked, and we said, this is something that we can do for the town. We had other work, so it wasn't like this was our only job. So we we set up to do it for pretty much cost to help the town out. So we placed our bids, and you were correct. We were about $100,000 cheaper than our closest bidder. I started hearing some things from some of the people in the community, so I went to the chairman of the library board, which was Mike Salvino, and I told him, I said, look, Mike, if you're getting negative comments to the library, and I said, certainly I don't want to hurt my business. I said, I will retract my bid, and you can give it to the next bidder. And he told me, he said, Mike, please don't do that. He said, if you retract your bid, he said, we won't be able to build the library because we don't have another $100,000.
And these other projects, the stage and the performance, it was always a situation where Knight and Lucas was the lowest bid. It wasn't where the council chose a higher bid just to give you the job.
Right. So on the performance stage, we had talked about building one, and Terry Pettit, the town manager, called me in one day and he said, hey, got some really good news. He said, we have an anonymous donor that, and on the amount, I thought at one time he told me 30, and then one time he told me 35,000. So I'm not 100% sure, but it was 30 or 35,000. Yeah. And so I said, well, that's great. I mean, I was almost to tears that we was going to get that kind of money, that somebody would give us that much money.
Right.
You know, and so we got to talking, and I got to thinking, and I thought, well, maybe Pioneer Bank, if we named the stage after Pioneer Bank, would match the anonymous donor. And so I went to Mark Reed, and Pioneer Bank has been outstanding for the town of Stanley. They've been our rock. And so I told him about our anonymous donor and asked him if they would match it. And he told me, he said, well, Mike, I can't make this decision on my own. I have to go to the board. So he went to the board, come back in about a week or two and said, hey, we'll do it. So the town got anywhere from $65,000 to $70,000 in donation money in order to build the amphitheater. My bid on the amphitheater was like $35,000. Wow. But the town had already purchased the building, and that was another $20,000. So we was like $55,000 into it, and then there was kind of some issues with the foundation and stuff. So we had to contact the engineer because of the soil and stuff, and they designed a different foundation, and that cost another $20,000. So basically, the town got the amphitheater for about $5,000, and I'm sure that building, the value of it is well over $100,000.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, Mike, you've always been straight with me, and I have nothing but the utmost respect and believe with everything that I know that you're doing what's best for the town of Stanley. And I tell you, y'all do a lot with a little.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's not just me. I mean, we have a wonderful community, a lot of people that give and will keep on giving. So I mean, I'm blessed to be the mayor in a community like this. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Well, I agree with you 100%. And I tell you, I appreciate for everything you've done for Stanley and the county. And I appreciate you being with us here today, right here on our 54th episode of Page Valley Livin'. We've been in conversation with Mayor Michael Knight. Congrats on your win in November, and look forward to working with you the next 4 years. As always, folks, we want to thank Eleanor Arrington for her work behind the camera and in the editing room this week. And we want to remind all of you out there to go visit our furry friends at the Page County Animal Shelter and help them find a forever home. Until next week, when we visit with the Mayor of Shenandoah, I'm Randy Arrington saying, enjoy that Page Valley living.